For enterprise organizations, managing all your food needs is a tall order. But with EasyCater, you get a single workplace food vendor with the tools and resources to make it easy, giving teams across your organization an easy way to order from a huge variety of restaurants, all on one platform. All while consolidating your corporate food spend so you can control costs, streamline billing and payment, and simplify reporting. EasyCater, your business tool for food. To learn more, visit easycater.com/podcast.
Every business has an ambition. PayPal Open is the platform designed to help you grow into yours. With business loans so you can expand and access to hundreds of millions of PayPal customers worldwide. And your customers can pay all the ways they want with PayPal, Venmo, Pay Later, and all major cards, so you can focus on scaling up. When it's time to get growing, there's one platform for all business. PayPal Open. Grow today at paypalopen.com. Loans subject to approval in available locations.
In business, they say you can have better, cheaper, or faster, but you only get to pick two. What if you could have all three at the same time? That's exactly what Cohere, Thomson Reuters, and Specialized Bikes have since they upgraded to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. OCI is the blazing fast platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs, where you can run any workload in a high availability, consistently high performance environment and spend less than you would with other clouds. How is it faster? OCI's block storage gives you more operations per second. Cheaper? OCI costs up to 50% less for computing, 70% less for storage, and 80% less for networking. Better? In test after test, OCI customers report lower latency and higher bandwidth versus other clouds. This is the cloud built for AI and all your biggest workloads. Right now, with zero commitment, try OCI for free. Head to oracle.com/strategic. That's oracle.com/strategic.
This is a breaking news update from Bloomberg. Instant reaction and analysis from our 3,000 journalists and analysts around the world.
President Donald Trump is likely to fire Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell soon, a White House official said, and discussed the possibility in a meeting with congressional Republicans on Tuesday night. While the lawmakers voiced support for the move, which will likely roil financial markets and lead to a consequential legal showdown, Trump has not made a final decision and could change his mind, according to the official who requested anonymity to discuss a private conversation. To get more on this, we go to Chris Condon, Bloomberg Federal Reserve team leader. Chris, has this happened before? Has a president ever removed a Fed chief?
No, absolutely not. Closest thing to this was in the 1970s. Jimmy Carter didn't like his Fed chief, and so he gave him the job as Treasury Secretary, which is not exactly firing somebody. So no, we have not come anywhere really close to anything like this.
Chris, now this was announced during a meeting with congressional Republicans, and the lawmakers actually voiced support for this move. I mean, did that surprise you at all?
Well, it depends, which Republicans are we talking about? If you have a small group of Republicans, you could probably find a small group of Republicans that would be adamantly opposed to this. You could also easily find a small group of Republicans that are gung-ho for this. So it depends on who these folks are exactly. But, it is still meaningful that you had some gathering of GOP lawmakers and there wasn't anybody pushing back, at least that we know of. So, yeah, it is quite meaningful.
Hey, Chris, I think, this isn't easy to do. That's maybe one of the reasons why it's never been done before. Talking about this is not an easy thing to do, as Section 10 of the Federal Reserve Act requires, quote, cause for removal. Talk to us about Section 10 and how that can be used. Right.
Okay. So importantly, this language has been tested in the courts for decades and decades. Going back to the 1930s, really, and the courts have examined what lawmakers meant by these words when they put it in the Federal Reserve Act and in other laws establishing other federal agencies. It's a pretty high hurdle. Now, it should be said that hurdle is potentially going to be lowered by the Supreme Court for other federal agencies. Trump has moved to fire some FCC commissioners, and the Supreme Court is hearing that case. And there's a lot of speculation that they will allow Trump to do that. But the court, very importantly, has already in a preliminary ruling signaled that they are likely to treat the Fed differently, saying it has unique historical qualities as a public-private institution. Legal scholars have interpreted that as a sign that the Supreme Court will protect and keep this for-cause hurdle in place for Fed governors. So if Trump wants to remove Powell from the Fed altogether, he will have to show cause. Now, historically, that's meant inefficiency, neglect of duty, or malfeasance, according to the legal experts. And that's not just, missing a few dollars here and there. This is real neglect of duty, real incompetence, fraud. It's considered a high legal hurdle. So he would still have quite a fight in front of him if he wants to remove Powell from the Fed.
Yeah, so that leads to my question. Is this more about interest rates, or is this more, President Trump also talked about renovations over at the central banks? I mean, what's the leading factor behind this decision?
Right. Okay. So interestingly, I'd point out a couple things here. Powell's term as chair ends in May of 2026. Mm-hmm. And he has, in some recent, he's been questioned, will he leave, as most chairs do? Because he doesn't have to leave, he can stay on as a governor. And he has declined to answer that question. It is since he's done that administration officials have begun to apparently look for other reasons that could satisfy this for-cause hurdle. And they brought up the rehabilitation of two big buildings that the Fed controls, its headquarters, downtown Washington, which are undergoing a very expensive renovation. And they're trying to grab onto this as a cause. Now, many people have viewed this as trying to find some excuse to fire Powell when, in fact, the real beef they have is interest rates. That's what Trump has focused on constantly since being reelected. You hear him almost every day asking for the Fed or demanding the Fed lower rates. So, a lot of people are saying that's really the center of the conflict. And he's using this other issue as the stick to beat Powell over.
Chris, timing, this is all new to everyone. If President Trump were to remove Fed Chair Powell, would Mr. Powell then, I guess, sue as a private citizen? Or who would file suit against it?
He would, as the party that is harmed, he would have to sue personally.
Okay.
It would be a big deal. It would be expensive, although he's a fairly wealthy fellow. And he has given indication that he would fight. I think we can expect that. One other thing to note, I think that's very important to add, though, even if Powell were successfully removed, the Federal Open Market Committee sets interest rates, not the chair. So it would not mean that a new person in charge would suddenly be able to change the direction of interest rate policy at the Fed.
There were a couple names tossed around. You had Kevin Hassett, Kevin Warsh, Christopher Waller. How would you describe the difference between them?
The big difference is between all of the other candidates and Christopher Waller. Waller is a sitting Fed governor. He is a Trump appointee, but he's pretty widely viewed as somebody who will follow his instincts as a very experienced economist. He is at the dovish end of the spectrum at the moment on the FOMC. He has suggested that he'd be ready to cut possibly this month. There's some speculation about to what extent he's, auditioning for the job. The others, though, are much more clearly considered loyalists to Trump, especially Kevin Hassett. Kevin Warsh, perhaps less so, but he's been pursuing that job for a very long time.
Right.
And while historically a hawk, he has been talking very dovishly of late.
Every business has an ambition. PayPal Open is the platform designed to help you grow into yours. With business loans so you can expand and access to hundreds of millions of PayPal customers worldwide. And your customers can pay all the ways they want with PayPal, Venmo, Pay Later, and all major cards, so you can focus on scaling up. When it's time to get growing, there's one platform for all business. PayPal Open. Grow today at paypalopen.com. Loans subject to approval in available locations.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
This is Rob Parker from The Odd Couple with Rob Parker and Kelvin Washington. The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are designed to outlast and outlive. Backed by Toyota's legendary reputation for reliability. So get in a Tundra with the available iForce Max hybrid engine, delivering exceptional torque and towing capacity. Or check out a Tacoma with available off-road features like crawl control. It can take you beyond the trails. Toyota trucks are built to last year after year, mile after mile. So don't wait. Get yours today. Visit buyatoyota.com for deals and more. Toyota, let's go places.